there, listeners. Are you feeling the weight of the world? Well, you're not alone. The U.S. Surgeon General says nearly 50% of parents are overwhelmed by stress. And guess what? It's affecting us all. Just last year, we heard about an epidemic of loneliness hitting half our population, especially young adults. But there's hope. I'm Scarlett Lewis, founder of the Choose Love movement. We're dedicated to your safety, health, and well-being with proactive mental health strategies. Imagine a life where stress and loneliness are replaced by joy and connection. We've already reached millions with essential life skills to prevent violence, substance abuse, and mental illness. Want to join this life-changing movement? It's easy. Visit chooselovemovement.org today. Become a member, spread the word, and access our free resources. Together, we can create a loving, supportive community. Remember, all the nurturing, healing love you give comes back to you tenfold. Thank you for choosing love.
I choose love. I choose love.
Hey everybody, this is Scarlett Lewis. I'm the founder of the Choose Love movement, and this is the Choose Love podcast. Thank you all for joining us. I have a very special guest today, and her name is Jordan Arogeti, and she is the founder of this incredible platform that I want everyone that's listening to know about. And then I want you to take this podcast and I want you to spread it as far and wide as possible, because it is an incredible service. I've really never seen anything like it. And there is so much need for it. I'm so appreciative, Jordan, of what you've created. And I know so many families are appreciative as well. Jordan created a platform called Support Now. And we're going to hear from her why she decided to do this, how, and the impact of it, and then how you can also get involved and how you can help spread the message. So thanks so much for being with us, Jordan.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, so amazing. So describe, I guess, first, because I'm sure everybody's wondering, what is Support Now? And then maybe we can kind of go a little bit backwards into first what it is, and then who you are and why you created it.
Yeah, absolutely. The way I'll describe it is by first putting into context. I think everyone that I've ever met has been on the receiving end of the text message, the email, the phone call, the Facebook notification that someone they love is going through something difficult.
Yeah.
Whether that's a trauma, whether that's a diagnosis, a disability, a death, a natural disaster. We've all been there. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, when you get the news, there's typically one of two questions that you ask at the very beginning. The first is, what happened? And the second is, what can I do to help? Support Now is the answer to that second question. We know that when major life moments happen, within minutes, there's oftentimes a text chain of moms or women, and sometimes men, but oftentimes moms, that are trying to figure out, how are we going to help? What can we do? Mm-hmm. And as I often say, we live in a culture of cash and casseroles. And if you're like me, and I've found that I'm not special, most people want to give cash or casseroles, but they also want to do more. So at its core, Support Now is a free platform that allows people to raise money, organize meals, coordinate volunteers, and share updates all together in one place. The experience is completely customizable, meaning you can turn functionality on and off as you need it. Families can keep 100% of the money, which is very different than the competitors in our space. And more importantly, this company cares about the outcomes you achieve. Meaning, if you're trying to raise money for a treatment, a piece of equipment, a funeral cost, our team is actually going to get on the phone with you, get on chat with you, and try to figure out all the ways that we can make that happen for you. And so the background is I don't have a trauma story. I don't have a moment that I can point to that said where I learned that there was this gap. It really came from COVID. It came from just the constant barrage of text messages and emails that people I love were having babies in the NICU, house fires, loss, breast cancer diagnosis. And I thought, gosh, there has to be more than I can do than make a lasagna. I want to walk your dog. I want to watch your kid. I want to pray for you. But there were no tools out there that allowed me to go beyond what was currently offered. And it was confusing to me. Why are there all these tools that do such distinct things? They're all in different places. This is difficult. And so what I quickly learned is that a lot of times families don't get support because you don't make it easy for your community to follow along and to take action.
Mhm.
So what we wanted to do was build one clean, comprehensive, empathetic platform that does all of that, but better. And that is what Support Now is.
Wow. So, you showed me this before, and it really is an incredible platform where it organizes also the efforts. So you're not having 5 casseroles show up and or only prayers. You're actually putting in what you need, and then you're giving people the ability, not only from finances to other things as well, to show up for you in the ways that you need for them to better be able to help you in your need.
That's right. I call it support languages. One of the things that I've learned throughout this journey as an adult supporting others, as people supporting me through babies and things like that, is that everyone has an instinctive way that they like to show up. Most people actually don't know what their support language is, which we're trying to change. And I can get to that in a little bit later.
Sounds kind of like language of love,
Yeah, it's like love languages.
that you want to show up and serve, right?
That's right. So we actually have created a totally different website called supportlanguages.com, where people can take a quiz to find out what their support language is. And then when you're ready to take action through that, you can use Support Now to do it. I actually gave a TED talk or TEDx talk on this at the end of February that hasn't yet been released. So I have to be careful about what I share, but it's coming. But one of the big themes of Support Now is I believe that everyone has a support language. And too often we're kind of put in this hole of what you can and cannot do. And so in some ways, Support Now is just like this really inclusive platform that lets people show up in the way that makes them feel good, but still adds value to the family. So again, if you're not the person that's a cook, don't cook. Cooks shouldn't cook. If you don't have money, don't give money. But I guarantee you, everyone is capable of something that makes them feel good. And that can be as something like prayer. It can be as something as walking a dog or mowing the lawn or taking out the trash or watching a kid. Everyone has an inclination to do something that makes them feel good. And we want to not only do we want to help families, we also want to inspire supporters to feel good about the actions that they take. And so, oftentimes when people create a Support Now, sometimes it's created by the family. Oftentimes it's created by the best friend, the cousin, the neighbor, the colleague. Because as you know, Scarlett, very well, when people are going through a difficult moment, a traumatic moment, they don't have this space to know what they want. If I would have come to you in the days of your tragedy and someone says, Scarlett, what can I do? You don't know.
No, and you don't have the capacity to direct, and you don't want to. And you're flat on your back. That's kind of how I describe how I was following Jesse's murder. I wasn't even home. I was at my mom's house. I thought I was never going to go home. My friends were calling. I didn't want them to. I didn't want them to show up. I was just thinking, how am I going to survive for myself and my son? And and so it was actually a burden, really, for somebody to say, put that on you. What can I do?
That's right.
In a certain sense, because you're like, I really don't know. And then I don't want to ask you to sometimes it was even like, well, I have needs, but I don't really want to ask you for them. Right.
Well, and two things can be true at the same time. A family that's going through a major moment could not know what they need. And there could be a massive community that wants to take action to support you.
Yeah.
And there just has to be a space for all of that to be true at the same time. And that's what Support Now is. Because one of the things that we've done is we've created this platform in a way that it almost acts as a shield for the family. Because we know in the days and the hours and the days and the weeks after a difficult diagnosis or a tragedy strikes, you're inundated with text messages doing exactly what you talked about, Scarlett. What can I do? How can I help? And you are shifting the onus onto the family. And instead, what we're saying is all you need is one person to say, hey, we're going to gather support here. We're going to give people a place to deposit that energy, that willingness, that desire here.
Mm-hmm.
So that as the family kind of creeps back into an awareness, like to your point, literally being able to get back on their feet.
Yeah.
They
Right.
now have this village that they've aggregated, and they're not having to try to kind of pull through multiple platforms and, like who gave me what, and is that on Venmo? And it's messy, it's chaotic.
It is.
So what we're trying to do is reduce the overwhelm for families and for their communities, because it's so much easier when everyone is galvanizing in one place. Because it's not that you'll never know what your needs are. It's just that in the first several months, maybe years, they don't yet know. But that doesn't mean that you won't eventually have needs. But you might as well kind of bring your community, your village all together in one place, have one place where you can communicate updates, so you don't feel that need to have to respond to individual text messages when people are checking on you.
And you really can't. You're in survival mode.
Right. Of course you can't. And that's why so often our most successful, we call them registries, our most successful registries are built by what I call the maid of honor. It's that person in your life that doesn't take no for an answer. Because when you say, no, I'm fine, I don't know, I don't want to be a burden, no. There's always that one friend that we all have that's like, excuse my language, bullshit.
Yeah.
Because that's a person that knows that there is a need, you just can't see it. And they recognize that there are 10 to 20 to 50 to hundreds, if not thousands of people that, if not given direction, are going to do their own thing. That's just going to create more stress for you. It's just going to create more overwhelm for you. So I call this person the maid of honor in a joking sense. We call them an organizer in Support Now, and you can have multiple of them. But it's so important to have that one person that's not afraid to say, I'm going to lead on this. Because I think when you look back, you're going to be so happy you let people come in and bless you with their blessings. Because if the situation was reversed, you would want to be able to do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The exact same thing.
That's amazing. So I'm thinking, first of all, I was thinking about my own situation and how every situation is different, because, in my own, it's like I was a single mom with a farm. And I just walked away from all of it. And I mean, I knew that I had friends that were here that were taking care of the animals. But, the friends that were here will tell me today, they were like, oh my God, I don't know anything about chickens. And you know what I mean? Like, I mean, what do they eat? And so they ended up, having to find somebody who knows chickens, who happens to be a dear friend of mine, actually is on my board. But, and there's so many, as you said, different ways that you can help, and so many kind of different situations. The other thing that I loved about what you shared was, like, you might be thinking as you're listening to this, especially like the recent natural disasters that have happened, and how perfect this would be for that. But also, like everyday things, when you find your child gets a diagnosis, or you get a diagnosis, or you have a child born with a disability, or, I mean, you have parents that need care and they're out of town. I mean, there's just so many different things. And the other thing that your platform provides, which I was just so amazed at, and I want everyone to listen, this is so important, is the fact that you pair up families with providers too of services
That's right.
that I didn't even know that all of those. First of all, the platform that you provide, I've never seen anything like it. And then secondly, I'm looking through all of these organizations that provide services for these very kind of different things. And I would never even conceptualize that there were organizations out there that would offer these things. But you actually have a service where you pair up the families for these very, very specific services and needs, which is incredible. Talk about that.
Sure. So what Scarlett's referencing is our other product that's also completely free. It's called Connect. It's the largest database of active sortable medical grants on the internet and in the world. And I'll keep saying that until someone tells me that I'm wrong.
I think from what I saw, I've never seen anything like it.
It really is incredible. So we know, especially if you have a diagnosis, rare disease, funding is out there. There's a lot of money out there. The challenge for families isn't that money doesn't exist. The challenge for families is understanding what you qualify for and understanding what circumstances might work for your family. So we built Connect, and Connect is this incredible database with thousands of grants, hundreds of different diagnoses. It spans the entire country, including Canada, and growing every day. And what this does is it allows you to plug in what your diagnosis is, what state you live in, and we will immediately generate a list of organizations that provide funding grants based off of the information you provide to us. And what makes it even more valuable is that you can sort. You can sort by the type of grant you're looking for, whether that's therapies, equipment, respite, medical expenses. And so what we're trying to do is really teach people that funding is a possibility. We're just making that more accessible to people. And we manage that platform every day. There's real humans that add to it every day. It's not a graveyard of broken links. We literally go in, check each grant every day to see, is this grant still alive? Is this nonprofit still up? Things change all the time, as we all know. We want people to be able to quickly save a profile, whether it's for an adult, a child, and be able to see, wow, oh my gosh, there's 10 grants I didn't know that I could apply for, right here through Support Now's Connect. And so, what we're trying to do is, to be blunt, we're trying to build a new category of support so that when you get, let's say it's a diagnosis, for example, there's no reason to ever build anything else, because Support Now not only has the tools you need to rally your community, but it also has these more kind of like the extension of funding from nonprofits and particularly from nonprofits and foundations that are just looking for families to give money to. You just have to apply. And of course, we can't promise you'll get it, but you would be amazed when every week we see people getting $10,000, $15,000 grants. And, with a little bit of crowdfunding on the side, oftentimes they're unlocking wheelchair accessible vans, new equipment, again, paying for really expensive treatment or state-of-the-art medication. So this is where like our lens is so different than tools that people might already be familiar with when you think of like crowdfunding or meal planning. It's like, this is so much bigger, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to be there for families in longevity. And we're really trying to get people to their funding goals and to help them in their day-to-day life.
So what is the web address for that?
So you can go to supportnow.org.
Okay.
And that will take you there. And then specifically for Connect, it's grants.supportnow.org. And then the last piece of this is our incredible director of family advocacy, Abby Zacharitz. And Abby Zacharitz she should also be on this podcast because she's way more impressive than me. Abby is a mom of 5. Her 4th child had a near drowning accident that changed her life in a moment. And I won't share too much of her story here, but she quickly became really an expert at grants. And so much of Connect that's her baby. And so what we realized very early when we introduced Connect, and we've already, we heard thousands of users finding grants on Connect, was, wow, what if we hired Abby as our director of family advocacy to help families navigate this platform, navigate crowdfunding, and get to their goals? And so she, in addition to all the tools we've just talked about, she also has a form that anyone can fill out that allows you to say, here's how much I need to raise, here's the speed in which I need to do it, here's a little bit about my situation, and she'll actually get on a Zoom with you and write out a strategic plan of how to actually get the money that you're looking for. And not only, I always say the beauty of that, not only do you get, hopefully the goal is that you get funding, but you also have a little bit of a companionship. Because here's a mom that has walked through very difficult moments and has successfully found a way to push her family forward. And I think she embodies the spirit of what Support Now is all about. It's kind of like pushing that boundary of like, well, why are families alone doing this? And why couldn't we make it easier for people to find money? And why couldn't we, create these resources so that it's easier? The challenge for us, and why we're so grateful for opportunities like this, is we're new and nobody knows who we are yet. So for us, just the opportunity to share that these resources are here and they're free.
Right.
And you're going to keep more money, and we're going to care about you. We really feel like moms are at the heart of what we're building, because we know moms have very limited time, and we got to make it easy, and you got to enjoy the experience. If you don't enjoy the experience, then you're just going to use what you've used before, and it's okay. But this should be an exceptional experience where you yourself feel supported in a way that you didn't know was possible.
With dignity.
That's right.
Yeah. And so you can actually have, and I say, this whole conversation about experts that I've been having, like, who is an expert other than a mother that's either been through it or going through it? Because they're going to go to the ends of the earth for their child, and they're going to find out everything that they need to know. And so you have, Abby, who I've spoken to, who is absolutely amazing. And she talked to me about this strategic plan, but how much does that cost families when they kind of hire her to do that for them?
Nothing.
She's holding up a donut hole. That is incredible. That's incredible.
Nothing. Yeah. I mean, it's really simple. Like, we are trying to add as much value as possible to families, to teach them that there is a better way. And so when you hear the news that someone you love is going through something difficult, we want to be one of the first things you think about recommending to somebody. And we're a startup, so we've got a lot of hills to climb, and we're early in the journey. But to give people confidence, that things that give me confidence is we have over 60,000 users. We've raised through Support Now over $4 million through our platform in 18 months.
Wow.
And so we know that people get this. When you see it and you feel it, and I encourage you to come to our website to check it out, you'll quickly understand, oh, wow, this company gets it. And one of my favorite compliments that we get is, I can tell a parent made this. Because a parent understands that time is limited. A parent understands how difficult it is to ask and receive help. A parent understands that money is just the very tip of the iceberg of what families need. And a parent knows that the value of their recommendation. So for us, every mom and every parent we get to talk to is an opportunity to remind people that just because you think that there is only one way to do things, there's not. And that's the beauty of technology, right? There's the beauty of technology and being innovative and having different experiences, is that you can solve problems. And for some people, they didn't even realize it was a problem they had. But when I talk to people like you, Scarlett, and our families and customers every day, they tell me, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. And that's where we just think there's just an immense opportunity to change that and Again, we're early in the journey, but there's nothing stopping us from reaching millions of families every single year to help them through whatever that challenge is. And to your point, to make them feel good about it and to keep their dignity intact, because unlike some platforms where you feel like the beggar on the corner, that's not what this is. That's not what this is at all. This is an opportunity for the people that love you to come alongside you. And this is an opportunity to really give you the agency to decide how you fund and how quickly you fund the needs of your family.
So what are some of the things that you can come to support now to find help with? Can you list some of those things off?
Yeah, I mean, the simplest is when you come to our website, you're going to see our products. And our products are the best way to interact with what we're doing. So you can create a registry, you can go to Connect, you can get time with Abby. She's not a product, obviously, but that would call it like kind of like a product, like a different category. And the other thing we have is resources. So something we've also tried to be very thoughtful of is our content library. So content library for anything from loss to diagnosis to tragedy to NICU PICU. I mean, all of the things we have in there. And then what you can also expect is, and Scarlett, you were so kind to join us, is our own podcast. We have a podcast called Moms Like Me, where our goal is to touch even a single mom every week that might be going through something similar as to our guest. Mm-hmm. And so what we really are trying to do through our website, ultimately, it is actually build community. People talk about community. They throw that term around a lot. To your point about experts, people love talking about experts. People love talking about community. But what is community? And I think it's a term that's gotten lost in like the tech sphere, and because of Instagram, people like topics and words get swooped up really quickly. But what we eventually strive to do is create a network of parents that have gone through something where we can connect them with other parents that are earlier in the journey. Now, we're not there yet, but that is like phase 2 of this company. As we build a brand, as we have more success stories to say, do you want to pay this forward to someone else who might be in a similar position? And then how can we connect those dots, either by circumstance, by geography? So the most important thing for us is to grow, because the faster we grow, the more we can do to add to the resources we provide that ultimately, again, reduce the overwhelm for the families that we're trying to support.
I choose love.
Hey there, listeners. Are you feeling the weight of the world? Well, you're not alone. The U.S. Surgeon General says nearly 50% of parents are overwhelmed by stress. And guess what? It's affecting us all. Just last year, we heard about an epidemic of loneliness hitting half our population, especially young adults. But there's hope. I'm Scarlett Lewis, founder of the Choose Love movement. We're dedicated to your safety, health, and well-being with proactive mental health strategies. Imagine a life where stress and loneliness are replaced by joy and connection. We've already reached millions with essential life skills to prevent violence, substance abuse, and mental illness. Want to join this life-changing movement? It's easy. Visit chooselovemovement.org today. Become a member, spread the word, and access our free resources. Together, we can create a loving, supportive community. Remember, all the nurturing, healing love you give comes back to you tenfold. Thank you for choosing love.
I choose love. I choose love.
So I'm just wondering, you're so passionate, and this is such an incredible service. And I feel like usually there's some sort of story behind why someone is doing something that is magnanimous. And I'm wondering, what is your story, and why was Abby your friend before and you saw her going through, or, why the focus on a platform that serves this kind of community?
I don't have a story. I think
Knock on.
yeah, thankfully I don't have a story, knock on wood. Here's what I will say. My husband and I are co-founders of this company. We're both very old souls. We share the same values. And I think our faith has driven a lot of this. And we, in our religion, we talk about tikkun olam. It just means to repair the world, to make the world a better place. And we talk about tzedakah, the idea of being generous to communities that might need more help than others. And so I think these values that have been ingrained in us since being children, in some ways, like support now is the physical manifestation of who we are as humans, how we've been raised. And, my motivation is driven by seeing how people support each other today and knowing that it's not sufficient. It's just not. And it is such a blessing to be able to wake up every day, to be challenged the way we are, but to know that every day we get to help people we don't even know. That's the coolest feeling in the world. When we see families that are, getting to goals and having people come over to their house and walk their dogs and do all those things. It's the coolest thing in the world to be able to say, I'm doing that. And I'm a mom of 3 myself. I've got 3 children, 6 and under. I joke that support now is my 4th child. And I think I'm driven a lot by them, right? Like as a mother, you want to make sure you're leading by example. And so for me, showing my children that there is a way of doing well and doing good at the same time, that is, to me, one of the most powerful lessons you can teach your children. And by the way, my kids are too young to really understand. They don't get this. I think my oldest may know the name of our company. But my hope is that over time, and as we grow, when he says, he and the rest of my children understand, like, wow, like, you were building something with purpose. Mm-hmm. And that's very important to me because as we all know, we're all going to die. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. And if God forbid something happened to me, I would know that I left it all out on the field. And I genuinely felt like I left this world a better place than I found it. And that's all you can do. That's all you can control. As a person, certainly as a mom and as a business leader, like that is incredibly, incredibly valuable to me.
That's beautiful. And that's been part of my message, especially within the last few years, that, you look around and you can criticize what's going on in our country and in our world, but whose responsibility is it? Yours. This is your world. You're living in it. So that's not just to, criticizing is not positive action. And so we're responsible. I even said after Jesse's murder that I take my part of the responsibility for what happened in my community at my son's school. Would I do that? I'm not saying it's my fault. I'm saying that I'm responsible for what goes on around me, especially for my child's safety, health, and well-being. And I'm not a victim. I am, I am part of the solution. In that way, I can be part of the solution. And same with you. And it is our responsibility to leave our world a better place. And that doesn't mean being an armchair warrior and posting about dissenting views or pointing the finger at somebody that's not, doing something that you think they should do. It's actually getting up off the couch and actively doing something for someone else. And that's
I love that. I love that.
And it's also something that we teach, by the way, and this will make you feel good, Jordan, in all of our programming. We teach about compassion in action, and we talk about the research that shows that when you have the courage to step outside of yourself, so to have an outward focus, not only does that reduce and even get rid of any feelings of loneliness and disconnection, but it also helps and heals you. So every time you go out and you act in service to somebody else. So in other words, use your platform and do something for someone, you are helping and healing yourself. And I just think if more people understood that, and by the way, it's really interesting because the research shows you can't be doing something for someone else with the intention of helping and healing yourself. I can't go out and mow your lawn because I know that then you're going to turn around and you're going to do something for me. Then you get no benefit. It's really amazing. But when I go and I mow your lawn because I know that you need it and I don't expect anything in return, that literally helps my well-being in all ways. It's really incredible.
Yep.
So, amazing. And so you have this platform now that's enabling people to literally help and heal themselves when they go on there to help someone else and in turn help and heal themselves. I mean, that is really, really powerful. It's incredible.
Thank you. I agree. I mean, so much about what we're doing is like we're bringing back the village, because of technology, because of COVID. In some ways, we're more siloed than ever as communities, as adults. And so what we're really doing or trying to do is use technology to actually bring us closer together. Like, how cool is that? Normally, technology is designed to kind of isolate and to make things faster and easier for you. We live in a very individualist society. But what we're actually saying is like, no. Like, let's actually get back to that community. Let's get back to that village. Let's make it normal to ask for help. Let's make it normal to do the thing that feels like uncomfortable because no one else has asked you to mow the lawn or you've never done that. Like, let's get back to that. That's how we are designed as humans to function. And to your earlier point, I kind of smiled. I joke with my husband all the time around, there's a lot of rhetoric right now, how can you bring children into this world? I actually want to bring more children into this world because to me, it's an opportunity. I don't think I will, but to me, like that's my best chance at shaping the world because you can't change the things around you, but you can impact your own community. You can impact the people around you. And again, that is what's so fulfilling here. I get to live this kind of like individually at a leadership and, CEO type thing. But more importantly, we're kind of like taking that same concept and just applying it to all of our families and all of their communities and giving them that feeling of like, wow, that felt really good. Like I galvanized this support. I helped create this momentum. And to your point, it does come back. It reciprocates over time. And that's not why you do it, but it happens because supporting is contagious. If someone gives you support, you want to give it back. And that's why I'm also so confident that Support Now will ultimately be a household name because I know that there is such energy and such momentum and such joy that can be gleaned by helping somebody. It's just a matter of being willing to say, like, I'm going to do this for you. And as I often joke, there's no greater fear in life. People say your greatest fear in life is public speaking or snakes no, the greatest fear that people have in life is asking and receiving help. It's gotten worse, but it doesn't have to be. And I think there's a new generation of women that are more willing now than ever to acknowledge the load, both the mental and physical load of being a parent and balancing it all, and then saying, well, why is it that way? I'm willing to actually to put my guard down and say, you know what, I am going to be willing to let people help me at this time, especially if it's something difficult and tragic.
That's interesting. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's a lack of self-confidence or worthiness or just not wanting to be a burden? Why do you think people, wow, I mean, that's a huge statement that you just made, which I just want to unpack for a second. Like, our greatest fear is asking for help.
I can tell you. So, it took us like over a year to build this company because we were busy talking to psychiatrists and psychologists and spiritual leaders and families. Like, we really wanted to understand the psychology of like how this works and why doesn't this exist? And there's a number of reasons why it doesn't exist. But one of the reasons why is that asking for help at the core is rooted in shame. And shame is an emotion that humans want to avoid. So it's amazing, but a lot of families would say, I'd rather not, let's use money, for example. And money is the hardest thing to ask for. I'd rather not have the money or it take me quadruple the time than ask people for financial help. because it's rooted in shame.
Wait,
And
say
when
that
you,
again. Say that again.
the about the
You just said
oh,
something.
that, yeah, what I was saying is that a lot of people would rather not ask for money or have it take, 3 to 4 times longer to, to try to find their own way through it, because asking people for money is makes them feel ashamed, like that it's rooted in shame.
Yeah, no, I resonate with that. I do. Like that sounds like truth to me.
Yeah,
So
and
many
again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, I don't say it in a negative way. It's just a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a thing.
Yeah.
And what we tell our families all the time when we're talking to them on the customer side is I said it earlier in the podcast, the situation was reversed. What would you want to do? You would want to give. You'd be disappointed that there wasn't an opportunity to do that. Because
Right.
so that's what's so interesting. It's like we are designed to feel shame about asking for help, but at the same time, we're designed to support when these things happen.
Right.
And so it's this weird, kind of like inverse relationship that we're trying to like almost like change in a way where and you don't change it, but you can make it easier you can make it easier to ask and receive help in a way that doesn't feel like you're begging. And again, I think that's a big part of brand and all the other
That's a
things that we're
huge part
doing.
of it. That's a huge part of it. It's like, I think the maybe some other platforms make it seem like that. And sometimes it can come across like that. And so you're bringing dignity maybe to the ask, and then, also what you're talking about is the awareness that you are really giving people the opportunity to serve. And if you understand, which a lot of people don't, the research behind compassion, when you serve, you help and heal yourself. So actually you really are technically, and this is backed up by research, providing people an opportunity to help and heal themselves through service.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I'm telling you, it is the hardest and most rewarding thing professionally I've ever done.
Yeah.
It is so hard because we are competing in so many ways, with household names and names that everyone is familiar with. And, I'm, as someone who came up in the world of technology and have seen kind of what innovation can do and the right platform, what the right platforms can do. I'm just solely convinced that that won't always be the case, because there just is a better way of doing it. And I want to go back to this. I really do think that there is a new generation, particularly of women, that are acknowledging more of, frankly, mental health,
Yeah.
because women have taken on more and more and more.
Yeah.
And I think the first step is acknowledging mental health. And then the second step is like, okay, well, what am I going to do about it? And part of what you're going to do about it is being willing to tap into your village. And once you tap into your village, then it becomes, okay, well, what else do I need that would provide relief to me? And I think that those things can normalize very, very quickly. And again, it's been amazing to see, communities of people I never thought would use Support Now, using Support Now. It's the coolest thing in the world. Like, wow, I would have never thought they would have gotten over the shame of asking for money or asking for someone to watch their kids. Like, they're not that type. And then they do. And the feedback is incredible. Like, because they didn't realize how much joy it was bringing to other people to be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, as you know, you don't go through life, at the end of your life, you're not going to get a medal for doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
And you know what? You don't do it by yourself. I know my mom and I, we used to joke and say because my mom was single, I'm single, and the little golden books, the little red hen, that story. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. Well, for those that aren't, it's like this little red hen, she lives in a barnyard and she wants to bake some bread. And so she asked somebody, hey, will you harvest the wheat with me? And so all her barnyard friends are like, wait, we're too busy. They're all doing their own thing. So she harvests the wheat. And to make a long story short, the bread is now baked. Nobody's helped her in any of the steps along the way. And so this beautiful aroma is wafting out the kitchen door, and all the animals come and they go, oh, well, we'll help you eat it. And she's like, absolutely not. I did everything and nobody was there to help me. And I'm just saying that because my mom and I would always call ourselves the little red hen. We're the little red hen. We do everything by ourselves, you know, and we don't rely on anyone. And then it kind of became a badge of honor for me, you know, that I did everything myself and I didn't get any help, and that was okay because I could do it. And you know, then tragedy strikes and you're flat on your back, and or you get an injury. Just, I mean, like 4 weeks ago, I had my horse step on my foot. I was in the hospital. I was flat on my back for a week on my couch because I couldn't go to my bed. And it's like, I realized how complicated my life is. I had little baby chicks. I had a dog with cancer. Well, I have a farm, so I've got horses, chickens outside, and just all of these things that had to be done. Not to mention work, by the way. And like, you know, wow. So I need people to help me. And I can't even tell you how many people helped after Sandy Hook. I mean, people say, oh my gosh, it's amazing what you did. I'm like, oh, I had an army of help. So I'm no longer the little red hen. That's no longer a badge of courage. And even if you think, you know, you're doing it all yourself, you're really not. You're really a part of a community. And it's really important to acknowledge that and to allow that, You don't have to be alone. We're not actually created to do things alone and be alone. There are people that want to be in service. And I loved what you said. You said something that I didn't know either before, you know, starting the Choose Love movement. And that was, you can do well and do good. You can do well and do good. I didn't know. I wanted to do well. And so I did, but I didn't know that you could do well and do good at the same time. And I think that that's really important. And I think that it's almost like impossible to do good, really, and have fulfillment and meaning in your life and purpose without that other piece of doing well.
That's right. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just, you know, please share again the website and how people can access what you have, how they can share it, and also how they can help you with what you need to do to get this out there. Because now having listened to Jordan, like I've been on her podcast, but really understanding what she's doing, you realize this is really necessary. You know, you can use technology to bring people together. We're just now realizing how dividing a lot of the technology is, but here's a company trying to bring it together. It's really amazing. So how do we access, how do we spread, and how can we help?
Yeah, thank you so much. So our website is www.supportnow.org. Super simple. The grants platform is grants.supportnow.org. And you can access that from our main website. The biggest compliment to our business is using us. Plain and simple. You know, God forbid you find out someone you love is going through something, has experienced something where there is a need to support. The biggest compliment you can give us is to use us. The second biggest compliment is to refer us. We're also very active on Instagram. You can follow us at supportnow_org, where we share tips about supporting people. We share our podcast. We share customer testimonials. I'm going to be taking a more active role on social as well. And, you know, we know, again, moms are like the name of the game for us. So if you are in a Facebook group, and whether it's diagnosis specific or not, you know, it could just be a general moms group, just sharing, hey, I found out about this new resource, you know, things like that are supremely helpful. We do a lot of partnerships with nonprofits. We do a lot of partnerships with social media influencers. And so I do think the Support Now kind of like movement will continue to spread, but it will only spread if people that believe in this mission are willing to say, hey, let's figure out a different way to help this family that I love. And of course, if you yourself um, uh, need help, need support, not being afraid to say, let me start here. And so I'll make sure, there'll be links to get time with Abby that I can share as well,
Amazing.
for the podcast notes.
Great.
But yeah, we're very open. I mean, listen, we're growing, which is awesome. And I'm super excited. So if you DM support now, if you DM support now on Instagram, you can easily get time with someone from our team to figure out, hey, how can we make something happen here?
Yeah, that's amazing. So I just started following you guys. And I will say, after 12 years doing the Choose Love movement and also wanting to spread awareness of our organization, the most powerful way that I've found is by word of mouth and referral. That
Yep.
is, and that's what you were saying too. And still, isn't it amazing with all the technology, with all the social media, with the World Wide Web and all of that, the best way to spread is still by word of mouth and referral. So do that.
It drives me crazy that is it.
I know, right? It's still that. It's still that.
I love it and I hate it because I'm like, what's working? How do I know how I got to you? When we ask how they found out about us, and they say a friend. What friend? Was it a
Where?
pastor? Was it a doctor? Was it like what friend? But no, it's that I completely agree. And that again, people talk, and when people talk with conviction, that's the fastest way to move someone to action.
That's right. And I know for certain that everyone that's listening knows someone, if it's not themselves, that needs this service. So please forward this. It's just amazing when you look at it and you see all that they offer. It's really amazing.
Thank you, Scarlett. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Jordan. And audience, you're going to be hearing more from Jordan in the future, I'm sure. I really appreciate you so much and everything that you do. And that's certainly choosing love. And let me ask you just a little final question that I ask our podcast guests. So we have this formula that is the foundation of all of our programming and resources. And that formula is courage plus gratitude plus forgiveness plus compassion and action equals choosing love. And I wonder for you personally, which one of these character values do you use the most and how? Courage, gratitude, forgiveness, and compassion and action.
I'm struck between two.
These two. Sometimes they work in conjunction with each other for sure.
I think right now in this season, I would say courage. It is hard to build from scratch, especially with young children. So there is a much easier path for me and for my family to take to provide. And I think through the lens of support now, it does take tremendous courage to say, I could do that, but I'm going to choose to do this instead because I think the impact we can make is so much greater. And just in general, courage is something that I try to emulate so that I can teach to my children to not be so afraid to try new things and to not be so afraid to get up on stage at their end of year performance and to not be afraid to make a friend or to talk to the waitress at the restaurant that's asking what you want to drink. Like the little things that doesn't seem like courage on the outside, but actually really builds that muscle of being of being confident. Because to me, being courageous is being confident.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an important quality to have as you develop and certainly as an adult, because confidence isn't being the best. Confidence is really about being okay, not being the best, and still feeling fulfillment and feeling good about yourself regardless. And that is, to me, very, very critical.
Well, of course, courage is the most important character value because it underlies all the rest, right? Famous quote by Aristotle. And my advice to you, because I think I'm a little bit older than you are, is my organization that I started from scratch, I started 12 years ago, so a little bit older than yours as well. And I was in a similar position with single mom, 2 boys. You're not a single mom, but I'm just saying I had a decision to make, and I chose what seemed at the time the easier route, like a steady paycheck and benefits and things like that. And and compromising like that was not necessarily the easiest route. And it's looking back, it was, it was the right choice for me then because I made it. But I wasn't fully using my gifts and talents, and I was kind of underselling myself a lot. And that's never a good thing. Even though it seems like it's such a struggle, it's never a good thing to model for your kids, and you're certainly not doing that. So my hat's off to you. It's incredible. You are doing it, and you're going to do it because it's necessary. So thank you.
Thank you, Scarlett.
Absolutely. Thanks everybody for listening and for choosing love, and in doing so, making the world a safer, more peaceful and loving place. Thank you, Jordan.
Hey, oh, it's all part of us. We can all choose love. It'll lift you